My name's Bronsky. I worked on Sergeant KABUKIMAN, NYPD, and then subsequent to that, worked on the Class of Nuke 'Em High Part 2 and Class of Nuke 'Em High Part 3, The Good, the Bad, and the Subhumanoid. I was actually a professional wrestler by trade, and a series of or a circumstance happened where I tore the short head of the bicep off the bone. Little special effects there, that's real effects. Yeah, so the doctor said it was a 12 to 16 month recovery time, and scars over here as well. And they ended up coming into New York and auditioning for Mr. Kaufman and Mr. Hers with my arm in a cast. It was the end of the second day shooting Sergeant KABUKIMAN, NYPD, and as nervous as I was, the butterflies went away as soon as the first shot got off, at least with me on it. And what ended up happening, at the end of the second day, I went up to Mr. Kaufman and apologized because he had yelled at me earlier in the day for not continuing the action because I didn't hear the director yell cut, or not say cut. I thought the director said cut. And I went up to apologize. He said, well, there's no reason to apologize, Brick. In fact, did you talk to Andrew? And I forget his last name, and apparently they offered me the lead in Nuke 'Em High Part 2 at the end of the second day of shooting KABUKIMAN. In the Class of Nuke 'Em High Part 3, and it's in the movie because there was very few multiple takes. In the storyline, Dick Smith is actually supposed to be passed out on the girlfriend of Adlai Smith. Well, probably the only method acting I've ever done was I was legitimately passed out on top of Lisa Starr when they storm in and actually grab me and take me off of her. So in the movie, when they have me actually pulled off of her, I'm actually legitimately asleep when they come in. So as far as those intimate scenes, they may sound all fun and games, but it's because they're so broken up and take so long to do from several angles, it's hard to really get excited, let alone stay excited. The makeup and everything went. We had to do Adlai Smith, the one son, had to be done first because he sort of looked like Roger Smith in Nuke 'Em High 2. Then what we did was shoot the mayor, because the mayor had his hair slicked back and he had a very white suit and a button that said "I am mayor." And then the last scenes of the day where they'd spray paint my hair black and put the rest of the goop on to play Dick Smith, which I don't know if many people realize that goes back to Dick Nixon and Adlai Stevenson, but I don't know that everybody gets the little inside stuff that Lloyd and Michael were so wonderful about in the Troma films. There were long hours on Nuke 'Em High 3. I'm not exaggerating, getting into the hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning, washing off all that aforementioned black makeup, hairspray and everything that was in, and you'd literally have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So there were some nights that I never really slept. And needless to say, the crew was even worked harder than the actors. I just, because of the 3 roles, was sort of keeping the same time schedule as the crew. And there was some heat along the set, and I'm not going to say I sat back and played Solomon, but there were certain people that, had no business complaining, and other people had every reason to complain, but yet didn't. It's funny how the world works that way, but to make the long story end, I found myself in the middle of the night calling all the people on the hotel phone to the front desk from my hotel room and waking up the ones that were actually what I first saw as the naysaying complainers that really shouldn't have been complaining. I did all my own stunt work, and I'm not being braggadocious about that, but that's pretty much the case. Not just doing the stunt work. One thing you might appreciate, I became a better, on the occasional charity benefit that I did wrestle after shooting the Nuke 'Em High movies, I became a better wrestler after getting the experience working with Troma. I've been a little busy, since shooting those Troma films, Nuke 'Em High 2 and 3 and Sergeant KABUKIMAN, and some of the magic I've been working from behind. Troma gets that. My wife Donna is over here. Look in the camera, look at Larry, he's nice. And in order, Kayla is coming in, stumbling into the scene. Jordan, is behind her. Raquel is next. And then finally, as somebody said, we put the stem on the apple. The last one was a boy. That's Tyler. One of the things that happened when you mentioned earlier about what was the difference working with Lloyd and working with Eric Luzell as a director, and I said about, getting fed, and I tried to make it high point about getting fed better in East Tromaville as opposed to the left coast Tromaville. I think part of the problem with Eric Luzell is that he was counting on casting the whole thing, which I guess Lloyd and Michael told him he could, except they had to use Brick Bronsky as the lead in Nuke 'Em High 2. So when I got there, I had several people tell me, he's usually not this unfriendly, although he did say he hates all actors. I heard him say that, so maybe that was just mitigating the situation. But he definitely didn't care for me in the beginning. I think we eventually got along, but he was one of the most difficult people to deal with, and I was only...
I found this person, I believe this is someone who does the short films here, and, oh no, wait a minute, who is that person? I just wanted to present Brick with this All the Love You Can, the Cannes Film Festival guide. You weren't in this, unfortunately, but you were among the Pathfinders who went to Cannes, Brick Bronsky. So I thought you might enjoy seeing sort of your legacy.
Thanks again to Mr. Kaufman.
Your armacy and your legacy.
Thank you very much.
Elbowacy.
As opposed to the actors getting the first dibs on the food in East Tromaville, in West Tromaville, because Brick Bronsky's stand-in was Brick Bronsky, Lloyd would have made sure that I was fed well in East Tromaville, but in West Tromaville, Brick Bronsky got to the pizza table last. That's after no lunch, no breakfast, and by the time he got to the dinner table, which was lunch, dinner, and breakfast combined, there was no pizza left for him. And it's probably the only tantrum this non-prima donna actor ever had to do was I said to Lloyd, I told Eric, I can't shoot anymore until I get an omelet. And they actually had to stop production on Nuke 'Em High 2, and he sent, Carlton was his name, had to go and get me an omelet. I still paid for it,
What kind of omelet was it?
It was egg whites only, and I think it was mushroom and feta cheese.
Very cool. And how much was it?
It was $8.49.
Back in 1980, that's an expensive omelet.
1990, yeah.
And,
oh, Carlton had all the...
You paid for it, huh?
Yes,
wow,
I did.
That's a disgrace. I had no idea. Word never got back to the home office about this, because I would not have permitted this.
As far as All the Love You Can, Cannes 92 was pivotal and very much compelling for me as an actor back then to the benefits that Lloyd and Michael had done as far as exposing and pushing the career of Brick Bronsky. And one thing I can remember is that they had set up a lot of press conferences and so forth to the point where by the end of the festival, I always kidded and said, even though Eddie Murphy's picture was up on the front of Paramount of the Carlton Hotel, pushing, I think, the Distinguished Gentleman or something, with the grassroots approach that Troma uses, and as well documented in this DVD, with the paper trail that was left behind as far as the lobby cards sitting all over, because they made sure those cars were papered every hour, and those cars had to be out every hour. I always kid and say the face of Brick Bronsky was all over the Cannes Film Festival. Granted, people were stepping on it, but nonetheless, by the end of the festival, people knew who I was, and we came down the steps to go out the one night, and all of a sudden, people started flooding me for autographs, and I'm thinking to myself, oh great, they think I'm Dolph Lundgren, because Lundgren and Van Damme had the premiere of Universal Soldier either at the opening or closing night, I think the closing night of the film festival, and it's funny, when we came down the steps, I said, oh great, they think I'm Dolph Lundgren, and here I heard a little French boy say, that is Brick Bronsky. So whatever Troma's doing and has done, it's working, because I keep seeing him on the E! channel.
Head to talkintroma.com for more Troma history, also available wherever you listen.